Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
And good night.
Wherever you are in the world, my name is Steve.
And my name is Kass.
And normally we say Kass and Steve, but today we're going to say Steve and Kass.
Or Stas and Kiev.
Let's try Steve and Kass for a while because...
I don't like it.
Well, I do. What about you at home? Are you used to saying Kass and Steve or Steve and Kass? I mean, Steve and Kass doesn't sound...
It sounds like Stephen Kass.
It's like what?
Like a one word, like Stephen Kass. Not like Steve and Kass. Stephen Kass.
Steve and Kass.
Like, isn't it, you know?
And Kass and Steve. Kass and Steve. So, what? I drive a car, a Kia, BMW, and a Kass and Steve.
But you know the word Stephen is a name.
Yeah. Do you know that I'm actually brought up with the name Steven?
Steven.
Yeah, exactly. So at home, my family, my friends, everybody says Steven. And my two sisters, my brother, mom and dad, also had a different name for me. All different.
What were they?
So my older sister, Patricia, says Steve. No, my brother says Steve.
Very unique. Steve.
Steve. My brother says Steve.
Stevie.
My sister says Steven. Pascal says Steven. So those three.
They even pronounce it different.
Oh, Steve, Steven, Steven.
I thought you were going to be like
Philip.
Little bro. Sweetie pie.
No.
Honey cakes. I was expecting something unique.
Oh, no. Steve, Steven, Steven.
So my name is Catherine.
Yeah, people don't know that.
Mm-mm.
It's like an artist name.
That's right.
Kass.
When I hit the stage, I become Kass. The lights go on, the glitter falls.
But nobody says Catherine.
Oh, no. And when they do, I'm like...
Yeah. And that's actually the topic of today. Communication. Different levels of communication. Why would people call you Kass? Why would they call you Honey Pie?
Uh-huh.
Why would they call you... How do I call you? Little Betsy.
Little Betsy.
Little Betsy. How do you call me?
How you doing, little Betsy? Captain. You're my captain or Steven?
Captain or Steven.
So my given name is Catherine. My great aunt is Catherine. My aunt is Catherine. My cousin is Catherine.
What?
Yes. So my great aunt is Catherine. She goes by Caddy. My grandma named my aunt Catherine. She goes by Kathy. My mom named me after Kathy. I went by Kass. Kathy named her own daughter after herself and named her Cassie.
So they all call Catherine, but they all say something different.
Yep, they all go by a different name, but everybody kind of goes by Kass as well. It's kind of confusing. But all growing up, my family would call me Kass or Catherine. If they were like more serious, like when they're having a serious talk with me, it was Catherine. Yeah, I can see you through the mirror.
I mean,
it's better than cranking my neck. We're recording this in a hotel room. We have a mirror in front of us. It's kind of nice to not crank my neck.
We're looking at each other through the mirror and go like, even though you're sitting next to me, let me just communicate with you through the mirror, which is also a different way of communication. Yep. And actually, by the way, welcome to the Fun Road podcast. This is the podcast where we teach you tricks and tips about daily life, how to gain confidence, how to make the best out of life, how to have a fun life, stuff like that. And sometimes we try to educate you in a way that we think is very useful to communicate with people, to gain confidence, to put some pep in that step.
Yeah. You know, when we were coming up with the company name, The Fun Road, it just suited us so well.
We came up with that name within
a second. Yeah.
We go like, life is like taking a road trip.
Yep.
And you have the same things. You have the pit stops and you have the roadblocks and you have the cruise control. And it's like life. Sometimes you feel like you're in cruise control, you're hitting roadblocks, but whatever it is, we always make it fun. So the Fun Road, that's
I mean, you only have one life.
Yeah.
Do your best to try and insert those bits of fun, and a lot of that comes from not taking things so seriously, knowing where to put your focus, maintaining that balance. And today we're going to talk about connecting with people. And one of the workshops and trainings that we have done through the years of working together is a workshop called The Power of Connecting. And we
I
talk
love
a lot
that.
about connecting with others, and especially in this day and age where everything is so surface connected.
Crazy.
It can make you feel like you're really alone.
Yeah.
And going back to the roots of how do you communicate with people? How do you strike up a conversation?
It makes you feel sometimes that you're alone, but on the other hand, it makes you feel like you know a lot of people. And then you meet them for the first time and you realize, oh my God, I have no idea how to talk to this person, communicate with this person, even though I've seen her life or his life on social media.
Yeah.
So, but even with strangers, people get scared. Let me give you an example. I mean, we travel all the time, and when we're in a city and we want to ask somebody where to find a certain shop or a restaurant, we know. I get emotional. We know we need to approach that person in a way that used to be different. We used to be normal asking questions to people, but these days we don't have to because we have our phone that can tell us everything we need to know. So what happens is that the approach of approaching somebody, used to be very normal. Somebody needs to ask something, somebody's asking the way, somebody's asking the time. This is all gone through this digital world.
Yeah.
So what happens is that people lose the ability to approach somebody in a way that that person will think that you're going to come for a question instead of asking them something more than what they want to give.
Or trying to sell them
sell them something. So we already put up this filter of 5 seconds, the approach before, by kind of showing our phone, pointing at the phone like, I have a question about something, showing them the screen like there is a map, can you help me? So those 5 seconds of approach is purely to let them know, look, I'm approaching you in a way where I need to ask you a question, and I'm not going to
and you always put your arms up like, and you change your body language in a way like, I don't mean you any harm.
Yeah, I would just sorry. Like directions. Yeah, and you do it in a way like, just point and I'm fine. I don't need you to.
Yeah, I won't bother you anymore.
So just imagine that we're approaching somebody and we have like a book or a manual and a pen in our hands. And we're approaching that person, excuse me, like with a hand of stopping them. Like, we need to talk to you for 5 minutes. People know what's going on. So we try to avoid that and we approach them in a way like, no, and shoulders up. Just 1 second. Please help me.
I don't mean you any harm. I just want to ask for direction.
And it's kind of sad because now when we do want to approach people in a fun way, just to say something fun or do something fun, they don't know how to react anymore.
They're very cold.
Yeah.
I love listening to books. Are you thirsty? Are you hot?
Oh, I think so.
People tell me once in a while.
People tell me all the time.
All of a sudden, Steve did a panic body language.
Yeah, I'm like,
hot here. Can't breathe.
We switch off the air conditioning so it doesn't have that in the background.
Yeah, I thought I flipped it back on though.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't feel like it.
But I did press buttons and I thought, I'm not sure if this is working or not.
Yeah.
So I love to read books of like old pastime books and books of World War II. And oftentimes they talk of people who are traveling who stop and stay at their house. Can you imagine if somebody came to your door and just said, hey, I just need shelter and a place to stay for a couple of days as I'm traveling? I'd be absolutely not. There's so much awareness of the negative things out there in life that we oftentimes shut ourselves off.
Yeah.
So there's a great quote that says you can learn more about somebody in 10 minutes about asking them about themselves than by you can make more friends by asking people about themselves and by you telling them about yourself.
Yeah.
And so whenever I go and I'm communicating with somebody, I really just try and continue to ask them questions about them.
Yeah.
Get them to open up. But if it's just a stranger, I really want to be very specific in my approach. Yeah. And we have, one of the things that we talk about is there's kind of like a scale of connection where people are comfortable. And I have a very high comfort of connection with people.
Yeah. But why don't you explain that quality first? Because I think it's really. Didn't we do that in another podcast? I think we.
I don't know if we did.
If we did, it doesn't matter. But we should do. It's worth mentioning because I think it's a super interesting way of people always scared. What do I talk to when I meet a stranger or somebody for the first time? How do I communicate with them? And I think that technique is quite good.
So my dad worked for the city of Salt Lake City, and he taught communication for different departments for the state. And something that he came up with was QUALI, and each letter stands for something. So it's an acronym, and it's questions for understanding, active listening, and I statements. So these are the keys to a good communication. Yeah. So first,
because this is the problem people have. They don't listen anymore.
They don't know how to communicate at all. You know, we were talking with somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
And the eyes weren't even registering. I was asked a question, I was responding, and I fully turned my body to look right into this person's eyes. Oh. Like, hello, would you like to listen to my answer? Because you asked me a question.
Yeah. Ask your question, and
they don't even listen.
You answer, and they come up with the next question. I go like, "What? This has nothing to do with what I just told you." It's crazy. Totally. Because they know that in 3 minutes we're not going to be talking anymore. So it doesn't really matter what I'm talking to you. So this technique is super cool.
And if you want to get people to warm up to you, you know,
listen.
You have to listen to what they're saying. And especially, you know, we talk about travel tips in our past couple episodes. And if you want to get people to open up to you and help you, you have to learn how to communicate with them and build that level of trust right from the beginning. So first, you ask them for questions for understanding. Questions for understanding. So when I ask a question to somebody, I try and grab their attention and ask them a question that might have a little more interest.
Yeah, and that they feel that they appreciate it. Wow, she really wants to know. So you don't want to go over the top with questions where they go like, wait, am I on an interrogation? I'm being in an interview, but just interesting questions, knowing that they will be proud or they want to talk about it as well. So you have to feel that a little bit. Okay.
So if I'm in a cab and I'm being driven to my hotel and
I'm the cab driver.
Perfect. And I want to know what to do in the city of New York City. Let's say it's the first time I've gone there. Actually, let's change it. Let's go Barcelona because that's where you're living right now.
I was going in my New York taxi driver character. I was almost there.
You had the hat on. You had the coffee talk. The coffee talk.
Yeah, the coffee talk, man.
So, okay. So, I'm sitting in the car.
Hola, buenos días.
Hola, ¿qué tal, mi gente?
Hola, buenos días. Bienvenido a Barcelona.
So we're going to pretend like it's translated to English for our understanding.
Okay.
So, hey, it's the first time I've come to Barcelona. What's the best thing to do in Barcelona?
There's a lot of stuff you can do in Barcelona, depending what you want. Do you want to go have some good food? Do you want to visit museums? Are you a sporty girl?
You know, I would love to see a museum. Are there good museums to see in Barcelona?
Beautiful museums. You have the Museum of Picasso. You have, of course, you have everything about Gaudi, the architect. So there's a lot of stuff you can visit in Barcelona.
So maybe I'm unfamiliar. What is Gaudi? What is that? He slaps me across the face.
Tell me when to stop.
And pause. So as I'm asking questions, when he answers, I'm repeating something from his answer in my next question. Yeah. So I'm doing a follow-up question, confirming that I'm listening to him. So I'm asking him about museum. Then I'm going to ask him about Gaudi. Yeah. So now he is already knowing I'm listening because I'm repeating something from his answer in my next question.
But maybe taxi driver is not the best option because that happens a lot with the taxi driver is just giving information. But let's say we're in a plane. I mean, do you remember the time we used to travel in a plane and it was just polite to just talk for a minute with the person next to you.
Yep.
Now we're scared that minute is going to turn into a whole flight of conversation. Yeah. So we're getting too scared. But let's just pretend that you want to talk, I don't want to talk. So now this is something completely different because Kass says, ooh, I'm on a level, let's say there are 5 levels. And level 5 is a person that is very communicative.
Nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Communicative.
High five.
There we go. So that's a person that wants to talk all the time. And I'm, let's say, a 2. I'm polite. I want to have a basic, hey, some information and done.
Yep.
What Kass needs to do is she needs to come down from her 5 and adjust to 1 above 2 or 1 under 2. Meaning a 1 would be no communication, just very friendly. A 3 would be basic conversation. So I'm somewhere in between. So if you want to adjust to people, you need to find out what level of communication they want, and you can adjust to them.
And you can read this by their body language. If they're shifting toward you, it shows they're more open. If they're making eye contact with you, it shows that they're more open.
So let's say there's 5 levels. So this is scientifically proven, and every level we don't give them a number, but we compare it with drinks. So we go from ice baby,
dun, 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 dun,
which is a 0, to room temperature. To cold water, room temperature wine, warm soup, hot boiling tea or coffee. So you're hot boiling tea, coffee.
Oh,
And let's say I am cold Coke, crisp. So I'm like a level 2 and you're a level 5. We're in a plane sitting down. You want to do quality to me. I don't really feel like I'm interested, but you're going to adjust to me.
Perfect.
Got it? And all right. Sitting down, I'm in 1A business class down.
I'm in 1B. And action. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So, where
are you flying to? Where are you flying to?
So we're going to. Have you ever been to New York City? It's the first time.
Yeah. I lived there actually.
Yeah. Oh, wow, you live there. Mm-hmm. So what is your? How long have you lived there?
About 15 years now. Yeah.
15 years. That's a long time. So where did you live before you moved to New York?
Yeah, a bit over the place, everywhere a bit. Yeah.
All right. So what made you stick with New York City if you kind of moved all the way around?
I just like it. Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing to do? It's the first time I've ever been to New York City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, is there something that you would suggest to me?
Walk. You can see a lot in New York by walking. And I mean, it's a great city. And you want some good food? My niece actually has a restaurant in Canal Street. I'll give you the address. You got to go eat some food there. Yeah.
Wow, your niece owns a restaurant there. That is so cool. What type of food is it?
It's like organic. You'll like it.
I'm not really into organic. That's the problem. So when you're talking with somebody, just repeat something very simple.
Yeah.
Communication has far more with you getting to know other people than with trying to prove yourself. And we have an expression we use. We say expression, not impression. Yeah. So if you're just expressing yourself and connecting with them rather than trying to impress people, you will make such a better impact on them.
And totally. And you adjusted to the fact that I was in the beginning a little bit distant, but you turned the questions in making it interesting about me. So I got warmed up. Oh, okay. And I can talk about the restaurant of my niece and you should go there instead of you talking about your job to me. And that shuts me off. Go like, shut up. But when you ask me questions and you're interested in what I want to know, it warms me up. So I like that. That's really cool.
I remember one time I was getting a ride. I had traveled to, I can't even remember the city now, but my host's husband was driving me from the airport to the hotel. And I remember having probably an hour and a half conversation about the tech industry.
Really?
Yeah, which is something that I'm not into. But I just followed up with questions and questions and questions. And it's so interesting the things that you can learn just by asking people what they're into. We're all so different.
Yeah.
So many different unique interests. And you can learn so much about the world by just asking people what they're into. And people love to talk about themselves.
And do you know why people don't ask questions?
They're afraid.
They're afraid that what we ask, we should actually already know. Society should know what. When somebody says, "Oh, I'm a designer for a web," I mean,
oh, totally.
Like, and their job title, and then most people, 90% have no idea what it is, and everybody responds, "Oh, okay, cool," instead of, "What is that?"
Yeah, wow, I've never heard of that. Yeah, tell me more about that.
Because we're scared that person is going to look at us like, "You don't know what it is." Yeah. But let's turn it around. I mean, we work in the fitness industry, and we, for example, say we work for this company or that company, and somebody looks at us and go like, "Oh, what is that?" Yeah. I think it's kind of cool because I can kind of explain them, even though deep down I go like,
you've never heard of that?
You've never heard of that?
Yeah.
But then I know, of course, they're in a completely different world, and I love to explain everything about it. Ginger.
It helps people feel a level of trust with you. When you ask questions about them, they will then open up to you. Once they open up to you, you are far more likely to get what you want.
Totally.
So there's a couple times where our connection doesn't necessarily match up. For example, we're walking in the streets. Steve and I are you guys would love to travel with us because we are a party and a half. And it's part of just our whole motto of the Fun Road is just finding little ways to make things fun and laughing at life's circumstances. I mean, we just really laugh at ourselves most of the time.
Totally.
So we found this really beautiful candy shop in Seoul a couple nights ago.
I was scared to pick a candy. It would look like all candy was just stacked next to each other. We're like, is this just to look at, or can we just grab a candy?
It was magazine perfection. And if you took one of the bottles of jelly beans, you'd feel like, excuse me, you messed up the organization.
They would come run back up and put a new one there.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's this awesome song on the radio, and there's a guy, he's working the counter, he's working the register, and
he was ice baby. He was level 0.
Negative.
Do not look in my eyes. Give me the money for the candy and go.
So we do this little dun dun snap, bum bum snap,
cross
because it went with the music, and we love to dance. Everybody loves to move with the music. And he kind of smiled, and I thought, ooh, I'm gonna get him.
Oh, he's
coming for you. So I said, come on, join me. Hey, you want to. You want to snap? And he kept on looking down and shaking his head, no. And I just kept on trying.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he did his hand like, go.
Done.
Get out.
I'm done with you.
I'm done with you. And she goes, okay. That didn't work. Well, so we tried to bring him to up. We tried to bring him to a 4 at least, because we're a 5. So 4 would have helped, but 5 is the top. And when it doesn't work, if we really need to connect with him for whatever reason it is a client of us, it is the new boyfriend of a friend of ours, and we cannot get that person to our level, you still want communication, you adjust to them. So we could go back down and at least bring it up to 1.
Grab him by his hair and lift him up.
Which we did in the beginning. He smiled at us, so he kind of adjusted a little bit. But it's so difficult because you need to screen and say, okay, this person is a 3, is a 5, is a 1, and adjust to them if you really want to have that communication.
This is something that I try and do when Brian comes home or when I come home, just spark up communication when we're driving home.
Oh, yeah.
Just really ask him details about his day. What has he been doing? What were the highlights of the day? That's something I ask my kids. What were the highlights of the day? Yeah. What were the low points? And getting people to open up, because that shows that I care.
Yeah.
And I want them to feel that. So then last night we were eating, and I wanted this amazing, beautiful ice cream cone after we ate, just to really fill in any of the little corners of extra space I had in my stomach.
Wait with the story.
Put on the AC.
I cannot. I'm sweating like a pig. I mean, it's 26 degrees.
Yeah, I tried to turn it back on. I'm telling you.
All you do is just press on.
Nope, I did that. I for sure did that. All right, now we're back in action. Here we go. Oh, feel that cold breeze.
You got a bit of a shine going on. Oh,
I think that's just my forehead.
Okay, go. Ice cream.
So there's a song and you hear it and you start dancing to it.
Yeah.
So then I'm dancing to it. I'm kind of getting lost in it.
And he's the seller of ice cream, so he needs to adjust normally to clients. So he's always used to working with clients level 1, level 2.
And he made this beautiful ice cream cone, and I kind of just like put my arms up in the air like, this is the best tasting ice cream cone in the world, and we're having fun.
And he said, oh, finally, one of my clients is a 5.
Yeah.
His level. He was a 5.
He was a 5. He said, oh, you're a good dancer.
Yeah.
You're a good dancer. And he gave me this extra cookie. Take this cookie. You're a good dancer.
And do you know what I said? Thank you. Like, thank you for telling me I'm a good dancer. I was dancing right there next to you. Did not notice me at all.
Well, because I was a paying customer. He's a smart businessman.
Yeah, maybe.
So then we are dancing away and leaving, and we're kind of feeling good about ourselves because he's giving us that confirmation like, oh, I like you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a side window. And so he goes around to the side window to kind of just take another look at us.
Another look, like, let me just look at those clients who made my day.
Yeah, let me soak up that energy.
Yeah.
So that is somebody who I know I could come back with, who has a comfortable level of communication. Yeah. And learning these little things can help you when you're in a new area, when you're needing to strike up a conversation with somebody that you care about, with a boss, even hard conversations.
Or, you know what? Let's bring it not to a work relationship, but let's bring it to your home relationship. How many times we come home, something amazing happened. Let's put it first in the positive way. Amazing happened. You come home, you're at level 5. You want to share that, and you feel that the whole house is filled with people who are ice, baby. And you go like, why can't you be happy for me? And why don't you feel that? You have to understand that for them, when they've been all day at a certain level and you walk in with that positive and you get them to lift up maybe 1, 2 levels, but it's still not at your level, you need to understand that you need to bring it down a little bit. Or the other way around. Something bad happened and you walk in and you feel that your whole energy is just a level 0 or a 1. And at home you find people who are just laughing and happy and singing along, and you go like, can't you understand that this happened to me?
Why aren't you miserable with me?
Yeah. So you have to learn to adjust a little bit, unless you don't want to. Unless you're like, I'm fine with them being happy, and let's just turn it into a fight or a negative experience. You don't want that, you adjust a little bit. It's like the room. When it's too hot, you adjust the temperature and make it a little bit colder.
Just like that.
Oh.
Do you feel better now?
Oh my goodness. I was like, I don't think
I'm out of here.
I don't think I can finish this podcast. We need to record it again. Just in time.
I think it's such an important thing to remember, that we're expecting responses from people at our exact same level
without adjusting.
So going in and reading the room of your house, reading the room of the person you're communicating with, knowing your audience is a very important key to getting what you want out of life, because you're not going to always be fighting that resistance. So maybe waiting to talk about that exciting thing or that really hard thing until we're on a matched level is really good. Yeah.
So we hope, maybe we should do another episode about this, because I think it's very interesting, and this is something that people need every single day. When we talk about packing, it's maybe for some people twice a year or 3 times a year. Communication is every single day, with your partner, with your family, with your friends, with your boss, with strangers on the street. How do we do that? So we hope you learned a little bit. important things that we points things that we learned today is that quality. So, which is
questions for understanding, active listening, and I statements. I statements is something that we'll go into in another episode, and it's how to really dissolve hard conversations where you feel that feelings might get hurt. Difficult conversations, that's where I statements really come into play.
So we'll do that next week, which is going to be awesome. And one of the life events is coming up in July. If you're listening to this and it's August, forget what I'm saying now. You can switch off or go to the next episode. Don't forget to go online to kassandsteve.com or thefunroad.com and find out a live event near you.
That's right. We're going to be June 21st in Canada. July 21st. Oh my gosh. I've done that like 4 times.
Yeah.
The calendar or the year is just spinning by so fast.
You're so bad at communication.
I mean, seriously. So also with this podcast, make sure that you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Give us a nice little review. A number of stars. Really 5 is what we're looking for.
Yeah, like level 5.
That's right. Give us a high level of communication. And thank you so much for being part of our Fun Road journey. Share how you are taking these tips and tricks and putting them into your life with the hashtag MyFunRoad.
Have you looked at that hashtag?
Let's look it up right now.
Oh, it's fabulous.
It's happening.
Fabulous. If you can't, look at the hashtag MyFunRoad. So we're starting that, and it's all about things that you learned on our podcast or training or our webinar, and you are adjusting them to your life, and you just take a picture of it and you say My Fun Road, and I love it. It's really cool. So talk to you soon. Thank you for listening.
All right, goodbye now.
Bye.
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 Toodles.
Ice, ice, baby.
Dun, 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 dun.
We know you want to snap it. Bye bye.